Friends, one joined this morning by Senator Femi Okorounmu, who is the chairman, Presidential Advisory Committee on the National Conference. Thank you for coming on this morning, sir.
It's a pleasure to be with you.
Well, ever since the modalities have been released, of course, you have heard, perhaps read as well, lots of comments about that release by the announcement by the SSG. Well, initially, the government said it was going to be a conference of ethnic nationalities, and now, from this release, it's going to be called the National Conference. Now, that's one thing they've talked about. And then they talked about the possibility of holding it for 3 months. Won't the elections and preparations affect it? And then how you will have those who will be selected to appear, to be on that conference. All of these comments that are coming through, did you expect this kind of comments, and what do you think of them?
Well, maybe we should take these comments one at a time, so that I can deal properly with them. To begin with, the government did not say, as you have claimed, that it would be a conference of ethnic nationalities. It was not the government that said that. The government was prepared to accede to the request of Nigerians for a conference. But the type of conference was left to Nigerians to decide.
So the president in the statement did not talk about ethnic nationalities?
No, the government did not at any time say it was having a conference of ethnic nationalities.
But when you went around...
this is why I say, if you allow me.
No, go ahead.
When we went around, there were lots of demands by several groups for a conference of ethnic nationalities. We listened attentively to them. Then we came to, after our trip round, we came to consider all the requests before us. We even had a seminar at which we invited experts on various aspects of the demands to see how we could go about actualizing them. One of the things we realized was that the conference of ethnic nationalities was impracticable. If by a conference of ethnic nationalities, we made a conference where every nationality group would be assigned some delegates, because that is what many people seem to have in mind when they talk of a conference of ethnic nationalities. That means you will say this ethnic nationality, 2 delegates, that ethnic nationality, 1 delegate, and so on. The reason that is not practicable is because we realized that nobody in Nigeria knows how many ethnic nationalities there are in Nigeria. The census does not capture ethnic nationality. When they take a census, they don't ask you your ethnic nationality. So that we don't know the number of ethnic nationalities, we don't know the population of each ethnic nationality. This remains unknown. So it becomes difficult to have a conference which you then base on ethnic nationalities. Some experts tell us there are as little as 200 or more ethnic nationalities. Some tell us there are as many as 600 or more ethnic nationalities. Some say there are 379 or so ethnic nationalities. It is difficult to hold on to one because there is no factual basis. There is no authentic basis for holding on to one. And even if you do, if you say there are 200, you have to identify the 200. If you say there are 600, you have to identify the 600. Those who say there are about 379 ethnic nationalities, they have a list which they gave to us of these 379. When even the best people around, the most knowledgeable people look at this list, there are many so-called ethnic nationalities on that list which they had never heard of. So which raise questions, are there such ethnic nationalities? So all this created problems for us about having a conference of ethnic nationalities.
But that was by far the loudest call. I mean, it was a conference for ethnic nationalities. That was what a host of people wanted.
Yes, I'm saying that many people, I wanted it too. But then when you are confronted with the facts, you find that it is not realistic. It is not practical. In a situation where you don't even know how many ethnic nationalities there are, it becomes difficult. If, for instance, it remains so ambiguous how many ethnic nationalities there are, then as soon as some people know that we are going to have a conference where ethnic nationalities will be assigned delegates, a team of 4 people can get together and say they are an ethnic nationality. You can begin to create ethnic nationalities overnight.
I was just going to ask you though, do you think that would have been the most ideal?
If we had census figures, in fact, one of the first things was for me to call for census figures, to call the chairman of the Census Population Commission to give us these figures. It was then I realized the census has not been capturing figures of ethnic nationalities. So the country as a whole is in the dark as to how many ethnic nationalities there are in Nigeria. That is the fact.
Don't you think that this would have given us opportunity to put some light into what exactly we are in terms of ethnic nationalities? Because this single conference that the government has actually taken it upon itself to say, okay, let's do it. If we had gone the way that the people wanted, and we had gone the way after your discovery that the Census Commission has not been capturing citizens based on their ethnicity, we would have been able to solve the problem in the future by now knowing how many ethnic nationalities we do have.
The only way to know is to capture it in the next census. How else will we know it? We cannot now, without any figures, say that, okay, we are going to use ethnic nationalities. What do we go by?
Are we in a hurry? Sorry, Mark, are we in a hurry to get this done? Because if we had waited to see...
You mean wait until after the next census?
No, to start a process, kick off a process that will determine how many ethnic nationalities we do have, since that cry and call for this to be ethnic nationality based is so loud. We should have been able to wait and do all of that before we carry on with this.
The only way to do it is through a census. That's what I'm trying to get you to know. There is no way we can go about that process to know how many ethnic nationalities we have. The only way we can do it is through a census.
I was just wondering though, would it have been the most ideal for you? I mean, even you said you desired a conference of ethnic nationalities. Do you think that would have been the most ideal thing?
Well, if we had all the information, then a conference of ethnic nationalities would have met popular demand. I won't say it would be the ideal thing, but it would have met popular demand. But we didn't have the information.
What about the last census results?
I've told you that they did not capture ethnic nationality in that census.
So if we had a census that captured all of those, would have been...
Oh yeah, I would have made the strongest case for it. If we had a census that captured ethnic nationalities, Yorubas are those so much, Igbos are so much, Efiks are so much, Ibiobios are so much. These are the ethnic nationalities we all know. But there are hundreds that that you have never heard about, which are in the list that was given to us. So we have to be sure that these are authentic ethnic nationalities. The only way to be sure that they are authentic is if they are reflected in the census, and we are told their population is so much.
What do you say to those who say the timing of this conference is wrong? Because now that the timetable is out, primaries will be happening, who knows, I mean soon. We have 2 elections this year. Political activity is going to be heightened, and so holding this conference, some say, will just not work for them.
No, even the most ardent critics of this conference admit that we have for a long time been having elections based on a fraudulent constitution. I'm using their own words. They have used these words for many decades. They are even in many of their presentations, they call this our present constitution fraudulent and imperfect in many respects, and unjust and unfair in many respects. And it is on this constitution we base elections. So we cannot continue to base elections on irregularities, imperfection, injustice. It is better for us once and for all to have a constitution that all of us have confidence in.
Is that what this conference is also
going to do? That is the whole idea. That is the whole idea, to have a constitution that we all have confidence in, that we believe it reflects justice, reflects equity, that everybody is happy with.
Do you think that we can actually work on a new constitution before the next elections?
Well, if you look at even the government, the modalities released, how we treat the findings and conclusions of this conference has been left to the conference itself to determine. You will see that it was there. The secretaries of the government read it out, that the conference is to advise government on how the conclusions and findings of the national conference are to be treated.
Well, we definitely noted that, because it was now a departure of some sort from what the president had earlier said. Would you remember that?
What did he alias?
When some people had gone to visit him during the Salah holiday, he had said that he doesn't understand why there was so much criticism for, you know, the constitution of your committee, especially since at the end of the day, whatever Nigerians decided was going to go to the National Assembly.
That's what the president said at that time.
Yes, so you remember that?
Yes, I remember he said it at that time.
Yes.
But if you also remember, even before the president talked, I had an interview with the Tribune in which I said the conclusions would go to referendum. So everybody was giving, at that time, one could consider that people were giving their opinions. But then we then went and listened to the opinions of Nigerians. And from the opinions of Nigerians, we discovered that majority wanted the conclusions of the conference to go to a referendum. That was what we found. But we also found that there was a significant body of opinion, not majority, that was against referendum, that on the legalistic basis, that they say we cannot have a referendum unless our present constitution is amended, because the present constitution does not provide for a referendum. And they were very strong on this. They invited scholars and experts who agreed with them to come and lecture us, and they were very, very strong about it. So rather than take the risk of having the conference break up on that issue, I mean, even before it has started, our committee, in its wisdom, decided that we should leave that issue to the conference itself to determine. So when the Nigerians meet at a conference, and all of them will know the rigor and the trouble they have gone through to reach their conclusions and recommendations, then they should decide what do they want to do with their conclusions and recommendations. If they decide it should go towards a referendum, so be it. If they decide it should go to National Assembly, so be it. You know, but Nigerians would then be making that decision.